Now we will see, you want to choose the microcontroller, then how can you decide the microcontroller and based on what? So you should decide the microcontroller, what microcontroller you are going to use for your application. It's based on how it's designed. For example, it's a RISC-based or CISC-based architecture. RISC means reduced instruction set computer. CISC means complex instruction set computer. Okay, so it's based on your application requirement. Some applications are very complex and it needs high performance all the time. So you need to choose CISC-based architecture. And manufacturer, what kind of manufacturer you prefer to use? Of course, Atmel. Atmel is not anymore. Atmel, they died. Microchip acquired Atmel. I think, if I am remember correct. Atmel was quite famous once upon a time, some years ago, but now no more. And Intel and Microchip, Philips, ST Microelectronics, and so on. There are so many different manufacturers. They come up with microcontrollers with their brand name. And ROM technology, what kind of ROM you want to use, you want to have, and what kind of RAM technology or capacity you want to have in your microcontroller, because everything is inbuilt. So if you go for higher memory capacity, then of course the price is more. And what kind of other features you want to have in your microcontroller. You want to have how many ADCs and DACs, how many watchdog timers, counters, number of IO pins, and so on. So you have to decide your microcontroller based on what you want. And what you want, it's depending on your application. And also you have to consider the speed of the microcontroller. It's not only about the physical structure and physical consideration. You have to also see about the speed, the internal clock speed of the microcontroller, and what is going to be the power consumption. If you are going to use the microcontroller all the time, the power consumption should be ultra low. And what kind of or amount of RAM and ROM you want on chip, the number of IO pins and cost per unit, packaging, and so on. So everything is up to you, what you want to decide. But mostly what we are doing, if you want to buy a microcontroller, for example, now I have a company, I am going to produce a system, and I need to choose the microcontroller for my product. What kind of microcontroller I am going to use in my PCB? Then I have to consider all these factors before I select a specific microcontroller. As a producer, system producer, for example, I manufacture microwave oven, or I manufacture the washing machine. So I want to sell as cheap as possible, because as a customer, you want a cheaper product, but at the same time, you are expecting the higher performance. So if you pay low cost, mostly people do not think, oh, I pay this only this money, so I can expect only this much. It's not like that. Human mindset is like, I want to pay only very low cost, but I want the best. So cheap and best, that is the market challenge. So as a manufacturer of the product, I need to satisfy you as a customer, and at the same time, I need to satisfy the company, my company. And I cannot really compromise in the performance or the performance of the system. So the system should be good. I should give a guarantee to my product. At the same time, I need to sell you cheaper. So then I need to choose the cheapest microcontroller for my system. So these are some practical issues. So as I said, like there are so many different microcontrollers are used, and so many different manufacturers or designers, they are producing the microcontrollers. So one of the well-known, few of the well-known microcontroller manufacturers are Atmel, no more Atmel. ARM, ARM is this company is located in Trondheim actually. They were located near the Polity before, and they moved to the Centrum. I was having quite some collaboration with them in some years ago. They are also microcontroller producers. They are the market dominators right now. They are taking more than 60% of the market worldwide. You should know that. And Intel, they are also producing microprocessors and also some microcontrollers, and National Semiconductors and Microchip. This is also one of the well-known company, and NEC and Motorola and so on, Texas Instruments, Zilog. So there are so many companies are producing microcontrollers. So you have wide choices. You can select whatever you want. Sometimes if you have more choices, then you can easily get confused which one you should choose. So people just follow other people. And AVR and ARM, they are the major two microcontroller producers. AVR was quite famous a few years ago. Again, AVR is almost lost the market or losing the market. Now ARM is taking over the entire market. You know, the cell phone companies, cell phone brand Nokia was quite famous around 2000 and 2004, 2005. Even before that, Nokia was the dominating market shareholder of the entire world. Then now no more Nokia. How many of you have the Nokia phone? Everyone switched to either maybe Huawei, the Chinese brand, or you switched to Samsung, that is a Korean brand, or Japanese brand, I'm not sure. So because Nokia was dominating the market once upon a time, but now they are not anymore. We are using ARM microcontrollers nowadays. That is for the cell phone brand. This is for the microcontrollers. Microcontrollers now, ARM is one of the well-known brand. So I was telling you just before, when you have so many choices, it's difficult to choose which one is the correct one for you. So you follow the other people. So maybe some other, your competitors, they are using ARM core. So then you are also going to choose the same ARM core. So it's easy for you to also sell in the market. So that is what happening. That is the human mentality. So we just follow other people. So again, there are so many different versions, and there are so many producers. They produce different products. Atmel, they call their microcontrollers AVR. Microchip is calling PIC, and Texas Instruments is calling their microcontroller starting with MSP and then the version name, version number. ARM is calling their brand name as a microcontroller start with ARM. So that's easy, right? So that's the smart strategy to promote your brand name. So your product name is also your brand name. Okay, and then Motorola. And ARM, we are going to use the ARM microcontrollers in our course. So we will focus on the ARM. So just forget about all other producers. So ARM microcontroller, they have different versions, and they have 8-bit microcontroller and 32-bit microcontrollers and so on. So important criteria while selecting microcontrollers: meeting the computing needs of the task efficiently and cost effectively. Yes, that's correct. You have to have the you have to select the correct microcontroller, and the same thing I think I do not want to repeat again. And one more thing you must remember, it should be easy to upgrade. So I have already designed my entire system. I designed my washing machine, for example, with a brand name Whirlpool, and I want to upgrade my washing machine, because in the market you have to always upgrade in order to attract the customers. You are not going to buy the washing machine which is 5 years or 10 years before. You always want the current trend with more features, more applications. So I'm not going to change the entire washing machine design, but I'm going to just only change some small, maybe some minor modifications. Instead of the same microcontroller, I can use another microcontroller from the same manufacturer. So easy to upgrade. So it's important, because when you upgrade from version 1 to version 2, the microcontroller, you can also upgrade your firmware. So once you upgrade your firmware, and if you have the upgraded microcontroller, then you can add more features as a manufacturer. So it's easy for me to catch the market, to attract you as a customer. So you should also consider this as another important factor. It should be easy to upgrade. And the cost per unit, of course, that is the most important thing out of everything else. And availability of software development tools. And of course, if I buy the microcontroller, I want to use something generic. It's not So if I have some problems as a programmer, I can easily go to the forums, online forums and computers, online resources. I can see the people will start to discuss, this is the problem I experienced, this is how I encountered, and this is how I got a solution, and you will share that with other people and so on. But if I choose the microcontroller which no one else is using, then if I have some problems, then it's very difficult for me to solve that. So that is why I am telling in the beginning of the course, if you talk about the programming, microcontrollers and microprocessors, you should refer a lot of online resources. That is very practical and that is very common in the programming world. Okay, so availability of the more tools, it's very important, and also wide availability and reliable sources of the microcontrollers. Yeah, the same thing. So these are important criteria while you select your microcontrollers.